Hey there, I'm going to be giving you 15 pros and cons of living in St. Petersburg, Florida. But before I do that, let me explain how it's going to work. There'll be some things that are an absolute pro, some that are cons, and some that kind of are a pro and con. And at the end of each one of the little segments, I'll share with you how I score that from 1 to 10. So you can kind of take that and use it. And if you have other things you'd like to know about with St. Petersburg area, make sure you put some comments at the bottom. I'll be happy to answer them for you. So here we go. Here comes the first one right now. Okay, number one here of my pro and cons, and it's really more pro than con, is traffic. Yeah, we have traffic here, but compared to places that I've been and probably maybe where you live or where you've been, the traffic here is pretty much a piece of cake. The only real con is we have a few older people here, and sometimes they don't give their signals quite as soon as we would like. Okay, some of them will just make a turn and bam. But overall, traffic here is not bad at all, and it's really easy to get around. The traffic patterns here, the streets are more or less on a grid system. They run north and south and east and west, and it's really easy to get around. So scoring my first one for you here, I'm going to score this as a 7 as a pro when it comes to traffic. Right, my number 2 for pro and con is restaurants. Yeah, restaurants. And this is probably more of a pro than anything. Look, we have a tremendous number of restaurants here, certainly because we're in the beach area in St. Petersburg and all the surrounding areas. We have a lot of tourism, so certainly we have a lot of restaurants. But I got to tell you something. In downtown St. Pete, the restaurant choices are amazing. I mean, you could probably eat at a different, unique, specialized restaurant for 100 nights in a row in downtown St. Petersburg. So restaurants are pretty plentiful around here, and they are truly amazing. So, but the biggest con of the restaurant thing here is that it gets confusing about where do you want to go to eat. That's the worst part about it. So I'm going to score my pro and con on restaurants as a 10 as a pro, not a con, for restaurants in downtown St. Petersburg and St. Petersburg in general. My number 3 of my pro and cons are termites, and this bad boy is all cons. Look, we have termites here in Florida. It's the weather, it creates termites, it is what it is. Now, fortunately, most of the houses here, and you may or may not know this, are built on slabs, so they don't get up underneath the house because there ain't no house to get up underneath them. So if you're from the Northeast or maybe from the Midwest, you're used to building them on a foundation, you got crawl space. We don't have any crawl space in most of the houses here, so keep that part in mind. But look, there's 3 types of houses in Florida. Those that have termites right now, those that have had termites, and those who haven't had termites yet. So you're gonna probably have termites here at some point if you're here long enough. And you know what? We just deal with it. You call the termite company out, they come and put this big tent thingy over your house. Eventually they go away and you move on for another 30 days, and then you have termites again. No, I'm just kidding you on that part. You may have them again way down the road, maybe 10, 15, 20 years, who knows. But I'm going to give this is a pro and a con. This bad boy is a con, and it's a -10. Right, my number 4 on my pro and con list is hurricanes. Yeah, we have a lot of hurricanes in Florida, don't we? This is kind of interesting, though. We haven't had a direct hit by a hurricane in the St. Petersburg, Florida area since October the 25th, 1921. So you should be concerned about it. And look, I live on Treasure Island, which is contiguous, big word to me, to St. Petersburg. And I worry about hurricanes, I do. But we don't get them very often, and we haven't really had a direct hit since 1921. We've been brushed a few times, but we've been really lucky. There are people here that will swear by the fact that they think that this is an Indian burial ground, and somehow or another we're protected from getting hit by a hurricane. I don't know if I want to believe that one or not. But look, the reality is we do have some hurricanes that come through here once in a while. They do brush us, but overall, it's not a major problem for any of us. So, what do? You prepare for it. You leave town, you do what you have to do, and make sure you have insurance or whatever, and it is what it is. On the pro and con of hurricanes, I'm going to score this one probably as about a 2 because it is a bit of an issue, but it ain't a horrible issue. Okay, my pro and con number 5 is it's confusing. Now, what do I mean by that? I talked about traffic earlier, but what is confusing here is you often don't know which darn city you're in. I mean, we have a whole bunch of cities that kind of brush up and connect against St. Petersburg, Cities like Gulfport, Florida, Pinellas Park, St. Pete Beach, South Pasadena, Seminole, Treasure Island, Madeira Beach, Indian Rocks Beach, Largo, Safety Harbor. I mean, all these cities kind of run together at times. You don't necessarily know where you are, but we think of it all as kind of the St. Petersburg area, even though they're different cities. So I would score this pro and con probably maybe a 6, just because it's kind of confusing about where the heck you are sometimes. Number 6 on my pro and cons is it's hot and humid here. Man, in July and August, it gets hot here. Hopefully you don't have to do outside work. And look, there's a lot of swimming pools here in Florida. In Florida alone, there's 1.5 million swimming pools in the state of Florida. I mean, hopefully either you have a pool at your house, or your neighbor has a pool, or your community has a pool. And if you want to go to the beach, look, we've got 825 miles of beaches in Florida. Probably just in the St. Pete area, I'm going to guess we probably have 40 or 50 miles of beaches, and they're all really easy to get to, so you can get cool if you want to. And as far as scoring the pro and con on this one, I'm going to score it kind of a con, and I'm going to give it a 6. Is in my pro and cons is cost of living. It's about 2% less here than it is nationwide, but it's still pretty high simply because of the price of real estate. Now, if you're going to rent a place or you're going to buy a place, it is a little bit pricey. But you know, it kind of depends on what your lifestyle is and how much you can afford. There's places you could probably buy for $80,000, or you could pay $8 million. Depends on whether you want to live at the beach, inside the city someplace. If you want to be in a condo or townhouse or single family resident, you know, that's all going to play into what your cost of living may be. Now, on the other hand, the cost of living is pretty cheap when it comes to clothing. We don't need a lot of clothes here. I mean, we don't need those heavy parkers and all those hats and stuff to wrap up in the winter, because we don't really have much of a winter here. So it kind of depends on your lifestyle and what you want to get used to. But I would say overall here, the cost of living is probably pretty average. If you take that and score that in my pro and con system here, I would give that a 5, because it's kind of an in-betweener. My number 8 in my pro and cons is the arts and nightlife. If you're into the arts, we have plenty to offer you here. We have the museums, we have theaters, we have entertainment venues. In downtown St. Pete, the nightlife is amazing. So if you're into any of those, if you're into any of that sort of stuff, we have got it loaded up here for you. Now, my pro and con on this, when I score this is an absolute 10. My number 9 in my pro and cons is professional sports. Let me first start by saying the only professional sport we don't have is basketball. We've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We've got the Tampa Bay Lightning. We have the Tampa Bay Rays. We have the Tampa Bay Rowdies in soccer. So we've got a little bit of everything now. So it's really, really positive. And if you live in the St. Pete area, let's see, besides the soccer and baseball, you got to drive over to Tampa for that. But it's a 30, 40-minute ride thereabouts. So it's nothing. So we've got every sport here except basketball. Now, one little con going on is we could at some point lose the Tampa Bay Rays. So when I score my pro and cons for professional sports here, I'm going to score it an 8 simply because of the Rays, and you have to drive a little bit of distance to get to those venues in Tampa. Okay, my number 10 on my list of pros and cons is active lifestyle. If you like living an active lifestyle, you're going to love it here. I mean, if you play tennis, pickleball, softball, golf, you name it, we've got it here. It's a very active place. If you're a jogger, a runner, or a biker, we've got something called the Pinellas Trail here. It's an 85-mile long trail. I mean, you can trail along that trail as much as you want to. So it's a very active lifestyle here. So I'm going to score this pro and con on active lifestyle. I'm going to give it a big fat 10. Okay, my number 11, that would be 10 plus 1. My number 11 on my pros and cons is flood zones. Yeah, we have some flood zone areas here, so you have to be concerned about that to some degree. If you live in a flood zone, you're probably going to have flood insurance if you have a mortgage on your property. And, you know, it's not all that costly, but it's going to be something that's going to be an expense for you, so you have to think that through. If you're looking at a property in Florida, by the way, you're not sure if it's a flood zone or not, you can reach out to me and I'd be happy to look it up for you. But that is a bit of an issue, but it's not a horrible issue because there's different areas where that flood zone is more problematic than others. But I would score this pro and con on flood zones on a 1 to 10 basis. I'd give this about a 3 because it is a bit of an issue, but not a horrible issue and not something you can't overcome. Okay, here's my number 12. That would be 10 plus these 2, yeah? My number 12 is sunshine. We have a lot of sunshine here, no doubt. Over 361 days, I think it is, worth of sunshine a year. So we don't get many cloudy days or rainy days here, to be candid with you. We get a few, but not many. So sunshine is really dynamic here. And look, when you're around sunshine and water and palm trees, it just changes your whole mood and attitude. I mean, think about those days when you're sitting at home and it's snowing and it's cold or icy out. I mean, it just is a poopy feeling, isn't it? We don't have that feeling here. So sunshine here, if I'm scoring this here on my pros and cons, sunshine, is going to get an absolute 10 because it's pretty darn amazing. Okay, number 13 is medical care. We have great medical care here. We have 10 major hospitals here. We have dock in the boxes on every street corner, it seems like. We have several teaching hospitals here. Anytime you're in an area where there's teaching hospitals, the medical care is really good. Whatever specialized medicine or medical care that you may need, it's available here. So the medical care here is outstanding. And that's really important if you're thinking about retiring and you're a boomer or you're a senior citizen or however you want to think about that. That's really, really important to you. So moving here from someplace else and giving up your doctor there won't be a major problem for you. I'm just about can guarantee you, you're going to get great medical care when you move here. So when I score medical care on my pros and cons, I'm going to give it an 8. Hey, I'm Tommy Gibbs, and I'm a realtor here in St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm with Global Lifestyle Realty. If I can ever be of help to you with your real estate needs, please reach out to me. Do me a couple of favors. Make some comments at the bottom. If there's a video you'd like to see, something you'd like to talk about, I'd be happy to put that out there for you. I do a new video every week, so please subscribe to my channel. And here we go with the last couple of bullet points here. And thanks again for watching this video. My number 14, is motorcycles. And that seems kind of like an odd thing to have in your pros and cons. If you enjoy riding motorcycles, this is a great place to be. We have over 600,000 motorcycle owners here. Now, the good news and the bad news about that, though, is if you're driving a vehicle, you have to be really alert and really conscious of the motorcycles around you because we have an awful lot of motorcycles. But there's a lot of great places to ride here. So if you're into motorcycles, this is a great place to be. And if you're not into motorcycles, you just have to be alert that we have them here. So I'm going to score this in my pro and cons. I'm going to give it a 7 simply because you as a driver of a vehicle have to be really alert. But on the other hand, again, I'm repeating myself, if you like riding motorcycles, you're going to love living in Florida. Okay, my number 15, my final number 15 in my pro and cons is the people. The people that live in this area are pretty darn amazing. They really are. We get an awful lot of Midwesterners who move here. And they just seem to have a different mindset. They're more laid back. They're not in such a rush. They hold the doors open for you. They say please and thank you. We get an awful lot of those type of people here. And even though we get a lot of people from the Northeast, they just all seem to merge together really well. And it seems to me that the folks from the Midwest kind of calm things down for everyone here. So I'm going to score that pro and con on people. I'm going to give it a 10 because the people who move here and live here are pretty darn amazing. Hey, there you have it. That's 15 pros and cons of living in St. Petersburg, Florida. My name's Tommy Gibbs, and I do a new video every week, so please join my channel. And by the way, here's another video you might find interesting. Thanks for watching the video, and have a great day.